These are the details surrounding a burn cage found inside a Hollywood mansion, rented by rising music star D4VD, whose career collapsed after the body of a missing 15-year-old girl was discovered in his Tesla. What started as a viral TikTok success story has transformed into one of the most disturbing criminal investigations in recent music industry history. Private investigator Steve Fisher went public on December 16, 2025, with a discovery that sent shockwaves through an already dark case. Inside the Hollywood Hills home that 20-year-old singer D4VD had been renting, Fisher found something that didn't belong there: a boxed, unopened burn cage incinerator capable of reaching temperatures exceeding 1600 degrees Fahrenheit. Human cremation typically requires 1400 degrees, which gives you an idea of what this device could do. This 55-pound piece of equipment, designed for farm waste disposal and illegal to operate in Los Angeles County, was sitting unused in a luxury rental home in one of LA's most exclusive neighborhoods. The discovery adds another layer to an already horrifying story. September 8, 2025 marked the day workers at a tow yard found the severely decomposed and dismembered remains of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, wrapped in a black garbage bag inside the trunk of a Tesla registered to D4VD. She'd been missing since April 5, 2024, when she was just 13 years old, and the body turned up the day after what would have been her 15th birthday. Understanding how we arrived at this point means going back to the beginning of D4VD's rise and tracing the timeline that led to this moment. The rise of D4VD David Anthony Burke, performing as D4VD, looked like the perfect Gen Z success story on the surface. Born March 28, 2005 in Queens, New York, he relocated to Houston at age 13 after growing up in a Christian household where he'd been homeschooled. His online presence started with Fortnite gaming content on YouTube, which seemed typical for kids his age. Music entered the picture in 2021 for a surprisingly practical reason: avoiding copyright strikes on gaming videos after his mother suggested he make his own tracks. Recording on his iPhone in his sister's closet, he crafted a lo-fi pop and R&B blend that millions gravitated toward. Romantic Homicide became his breakthrough when it dropped on July 20th, 2022, going viral on TikTok and climbing to number 3 on the Hot Alternative Songs chart while hitting number 33 on the Billboard Hot 100. Here With Me followed in September 2022 and reached number 60 on the Billboard Hot 100, and by that same month he'd signed with Darkroom and Interscope Records. The numbers tell the story of his rapid ascent. 700 billion streams accumulated over 2 years, and his TikTok following hit 3.6 million as of November 2025. Opening for SAA's SOS Tour in 2023 put him in front of massive audiences, and Coachella 2025 featured him on the lineup, though that performance became notorious for a faceplant during a backflip attempt that went viral for all the wrong reasons. April 2025 brought the release of Withered, his debut album that landed at number 13 on the Billboard 200. The Withered World Tour kicked off August 5th, 2025 in Del Mar, California, with everything appearing to go according to plan. Behind the scenes, though, a tragedy was building that would destroy everything he'd worked for. Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Lake Elsinore, California, is where Celeste Rivas Hernandez lived, a Riverside County city roughly 2 hours from Los Angeles. A small shh tattoo in red ink marked her right index finger, and neighbors who knew her described her as bubbly and sweet. Her family later called her a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend, words that carry the weight of grief. Life for Celeste was complicated in ways that would become tragically relevant. Sheriff's deputies visited her family's home on the 33,000 block of Jameson Street 11 times between February 2024 and April 2025, with most visits logged as minor crime investigation and one marked suspicious circumstances. March 19, 2024 alone saw deputies show up 3 separate times. Running away had become a pattern for Celeste, with 3 missing person reports filed in her final year. Neighbors knew she would run away for a day or two, but always returned, which made April 5, 2024 seem like another temporary disappearance at first. She was 13 years old when officially reported missing that day. This time was different because she never came back. May 2024 brought the last phone call with her family, and during that conversation, her mother heard Celeste mention having a boyfriend named David. What connects this case to D4VD goes beyond just a shared first name. Multiple photographs allegedly captured them together, and both of them wore matching tattoos on their right index fingers in the exact same spot. December 2023 saw a D4VD track titled Celeste Demo Unfind Leak on SoundCloud, with her name mentioned multiple times throughout, and she'd appeared in his live streams where his followers could see her. TMZ sources claimed friends in D4VD's circle told investigators the two were romantically involved. But here's where things get darker. Those same friends believed Celeste was a 19-year-old UCSC student, not a 13-year-old runaway. Law enforcement confirmed Celeste carried multiple fake IDs and used them to access events requiring attendees to be over 18 or 21. Exactly 1 year before her body would surface, on September 8, 2024, Nest camera footage captured Celeste alive at her Lake Elsinore family home, arguing with a neighbor over a prank. That recording stands as one of the last confirmed times anyone saw her breathing. The discovery, September 3, 2025, brought a parking citation for a 2023 Tesla Model Y bearing Texas license plates registered in Hempstead, Texas. Bluebird Avenue in the Bird Streets neighborhood of Hollywood Hills is where the vehicle sat, less than half a mile from the $20,000 a month rental home D4VD occupied. Neighbors reported seeing that Tesla parked in the same spot for weeks, possibly a full month or longer, and according to private investigator Fisher, the vehicle hadn't been used regularly, showing up super dirty, caked on dirt, as of late July 2025. Authorities marked the Tesla's tire positions on August 27, 2025, monitoring whether the car had moved at all. Nobody had reported it stolen, which meant someone had deliberately left it there. The Tesla got impounded from Bluebird Avenue on September 5, 2025 for illegal parking and went to Hollywood Tow, while D4VD performed in Minneapolis on his Withered World Tour that same day. 3 days passed before workers at Hollywood Tow picked up on a foul odor emanating from the vehicle. Their investigation led to a horrific find in the front trunk, where a black plastic garbage bag contained the severely decomposed and dismembered remains of a young person. Advanced decomposition meant identification required forensic examination rather than visual confirmation. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner eventually used the tattoo on the right index finger to help establish the victim's identity. September 16, 2025, marked the official identification of the remains as Celeste Rivas Hernandez, discovered the day after what should have been her 15th birthday. 17 months had elapsed since she went missing. The Los Angeles Police Department's Robbery Homicide Division took over immediately, and Detective Joshua Byers filed sealed court documents characterizing the case as an investigation into murder. The search warrant, identification of Celeste on September 16th, led directly to LAPD serving a search warrant the next day at the Hollywood Hills mansion D4VD had rented since February 2025. Malden Trifunovic owned the property valued at approximately $4.1 million, and D4VD's manager Josh Marshall had secured the lease through Interscope Records connections. The search produced a laptop computer, several bags of evidence, and other items that investigators hauled away while looking for blood traces throughout the property. What they didn't take would prove significant 2 months later, specifically the burn cage that nobody noticed during that initial sweep. Trifunovic told LA Magazine he didn't even know D4VD was living there until the case went public, and he explained his decision to hire outside help by saying, "We've hired a PI because our home was placed at the center of a serious investigation when it shouldn't have been, and we want clear answers for our family." Celeste's body went to her family on September 24, 2025, and movers showed up at the Hollywood Hills home that same day. Josh Marshall informed Trifunovic the lease wouldn't be renewed, which meant D4VD was moving out. Timing matters here because February 1st, 2025 saw a second Tesla get leased, and that vehicle turned up in the garage during the search. LAPD confirmed they have evidence placing D4VD in the Santa Barbara area sometime during spring 2025, though what he was doing there remains under investigation. The aftermath. Discovery of the body on September 8th, 2025, triggered an immediate and total collapse of D4VD's career. Crocs and Hollister Co.'s scrubbed all promotional content featuring the singer on September 9th, just one day after the find. His Seattle concert got canceled on September 18th, and September 19th saw him cancel every remaining U.S. tour date. Essence, the deluxe edition of his album Withered, that was supposed to drop September 19th, never saw the light of day. Late September brought cancellations of all European and Australian tour dates, including his Spilt Milk performance. Interscope Records suspended all promotion, and Kali Uchis worked to remove their collaboration Crashing from streaming services. D4VD transferred a Cypress home in the Houston area to his mother's name on September 23, 2025, then moved out of Los Angeles entirely and went completely silent on all public platforms. Yet his Spotify streams doubled the week following the body's discovery as of September 2025, which shows how true crime fascination drives engagement even when the subject matter is horrific. For the Rivas family, none of that mattered because they were planning a funeral. October 2025 saw them bury Celeste after a GoFundMe campaign organized by Esmeralda Lozano pulled in over $24,000 of a $28,000 goal. The investigation stall's fall turned to winter while the investigation hit significant roadblocks. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner deferred the cause of death determination and said additional testing was needed, with the manner of death listed as undetermined. Vehicle was listed as the place of death, though everyone involved believes she actually died months before discovery, possibly in spring 2025. Advanced decomposition made pinpointing an exact cause of death extremely difficult, if not impossible. November 7, 2025 brought a post from private investigator Fisher saying toxicology results were likely back, but possibly inconclusive, which meant the investigation was stuck. An LAPD statement floated the idea that criminal liability may not extend beyond the concealment of a body. And legal experts pointed out that without a confirmed manner of death, police couldn't make arrests for murder, even if they suspected it. TMZ and Harvey Levin reported a second suspect had been identified, someone believed to have helped attempt disposing of the body. But no arrest came as of December 2025. Early October 2025 saw D4VD hire Blair Burke, a high-profile criminal defense attorney whose client list includes Harvey Weinstein, Johnny Depp, Kanye West, Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, Mel Gibson, Bruno Mars, and Reese Witherspoon. Burke handles DUIs and minor legal issues for celebrities, but has limited murder case experience, with her most recent murder case involving Monica Cementilli, who got life in prison in June 2025 for murdering her husband. Hiring such a prominent attorney sparked divided reactions online. Some saw it as admission of guilt, while others defended the constitutional right to legal counsel regardless of public opinion. November 21, 2025 brought a court order placing a security hold on the case through the LA County Medical Examiner, sealing all records and cutting off the flow of public information going forward. LAPD sources confirmed as of November 18, 2025, that D4VD is considered a suspect in the case, but no charges have been filed and he's made zero public statements. Early reports claimed he was fully cooperating with the investigation, but later sources say he's not cooperating with detectives, which suggests something changed. The private investigation and the Berncage Malden Trifunovic's decision to hire a private investigator becomes the turning point in public knowledge about this case. October 15, 2025 marked the official confirmation that Steve Fisher, a California-based investigator specializing in missing persons cases, had been hired by the property owner. Fisher described his role as conducting an independent investigation through more non-traditional means than what might have been covered in a search warrant. And October 17th brought his interview on Law and Crime Sidebar with Jesse Weber. He went active on X, formerly Twitter, under the handle at SF Investigates and started providing updates on what he was finding. November 2025 brought the discovery that would thrust this case back into headlines after weeks of silence. Trifunovic hired a trash crew to remove items left behind after the lease ended, and Fisher examined what remained inside the property. That's when he found it. a boxed, unopened, unused DR burn cage incinerator sitting in the home. Understanding this device requires looking at the specifications. The DR burn cage weighs 55 pounds and uses durable, corrosion-resistant stainless steel that withstands temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, though the cage itself burns at temperatures over 1,600 degrees. Human cremation needs 1,400 degrees, which puts the capability of this device in perspective. Perforated side panels maximize airflow, and the cage holds 1,100 cubic inches more than a 55-gallon drum. Original model dimensions run 35 inches high by 20 inches long by 20 inches wide, unfolding from flat and Z-folding for storage. Marketing materials pitch it for yard waste, financial documents, branches, and leaves. Operating this device in Los Angeles County is illegal, and this is something you'd expect to find on a farm handling agricultural waste, not sitting inside a luxury Hollywood Hills mansion worth millions. December 16, 2025 saw Fisher announce the discovery publicly on X, and the timing was deliberate because it came after the court-ordered security hold limited what could be officially released. Fisher's analysis. Fisher's public statements and interviews raised questions that don't have good answers. Why would a 55-pound burn cage be delivered to a private residence instead of directly to a prop designer or production house? He asked, and that's a fair point. D4VD creates music videos as part of his work. So if the burn cage was meant for a video prop, like some might theoretically argue, why not have it shipped to a production facility instead of his home address? Why would it be ordered before departing on an extended world tour? Fisher continued, and the timing really doesn't make sense. The Withered World Tour started August 5th, 2025, so ordering a large, heavy piece of equipment right before leaving on tour raises questions about the intended use timeline. And why was it never used in any video production? Fisher pointed out, which is maybe the most damning question. The burn cage stayed in its original packaging, completely untouched, and no D4VD video has ever featured anything resembling this device. Fisher stated the most significant concern directly when he said, "Given that Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains were ultimately found in the Tesla trunk, the presence of an incinerator at the same residence associated with that vehicle necessarily raises questions about intent." The burn cage and other items got delivered to the residence under a false name, though someone at the residence accepted them. Fisher revealed additional items present that could be used in conjunction with the burn cage, describing multiple items that could all be used together to get rid of a person. He called these items sadistic and scary, things that would never be needed in a Hollywood Hills home but would make sense on a farm. One item remained in its original shipping packaging, never opened. Fisher also recovered prescription pain medication bottles, various drug paraphernalia items, and digital media not seized by LAPD that he considers important for establishing a timeline of events. The burn cage was not taken during the search warrant, and because it was not used, it appears it's not of importance to any possible criminal investigation. But we think it's important context, even if not criminal. Fisher clarified, which suggests the device itself may not be criminal evidence but speaks to mindset and planning. Surveillance footage from the neighborhood showing the Tesla being moved is in Fisher's possession, and he claims to know who abandoned the vehicle at its final location based on this footage. The broader context. Fisher raised concerns beyond the physical evidence that point to systemic failures. He questioned why Celeste, who had an active missing person report, was allegedly spotted at parties with family members in summer 2025, but the missing person report was never cleared, which represents a potential breakdown in missing person protocols. The private investigator believes the case may ultimately come down to a bad decision rather than premeditated murder, and he sees D4VD's hiring of Blair Burke as more about damage control than defending against a murder charge specifically. The presence of the burn cage tells a different story, though, one about ordering a device with a specific purpose and then never using it. Did someone order this planning to destroy evidence only to realize operating it would be illegal and attract attention? Was there another explanation that hasn't emerged yet? November 2025 saw TMZ report that Celeste's body was partially frozen when discovered, But LAPD released a correction stating the body of Celeste Rivas was not frozen when it was discovered on September 8, 2025. She had not been decapitated. Decapitation rumors had circulated online as well, forcing the department to address them directly. Conflicting information highlights how much speculation has surrounded this case, with some claims contradicted by official sources after misinformation spread. The unanswered questions. December 18, 2025 finds this case still unsolved. Celeste Rivas Hernandez has been dead for months, possibly since spring 2025, and her body sat undiscovered for 17 months after she went missing. Severely decomposed and dismembered, wrapped in a garbage bag in a Tesla trunk, that's how she was found. D4VD remains a suspect without charges filed against him. Blair Burke represents him now. He's stopped cooperating with investigators, and complete public silence has been his only response. No statements, no explanations, just disappearance from public life. A second suspect has allegedly been identified without being publicly named. Cause and manner of death for Celeste remain officially undetermined, and the investigation into what happened during that Santa Barbara trip in spring 2025 continues without public updates. Inside the home D4VD rented sits a 55-pound burn cage capable of reaching 1,600 degrees, ordered under a false name, delivered to the residence, and never used. That device exists as physical evidence of something, though what exactly remains unclear. Previous reporting from LA Magazine mentioned the case may be presented to a grand jury, though the court-ordered security hold means less information will surface publicly going forward. Conclusion. This story tracks how a 20-year-old TikTok star's rise ended when the body of a missing 15-year-old turned up in his Tesla. A 13-year-old runaway carried fake IDs that convinced everyone around her she was a 19-year-old college student. Her family endured 11 visits from sheriff's deputies over just over a year, and a missing person report stayed active even when the missing person was allegedly seen at parties. A body lay undiscovered in a parked car for weeks while neighbors walked past it daily. Now the story includes a burn cage, unopened and unused, sitting in a Hollywood mansion and raising questions about plans that never came to fruition. Steve Fisher, the private investigator who found it, captured the significance when he said the burn cage necessarily raises questions about intent. Criminal evidence or not, it provides context for understanding what might have been going through someone's mind in the months before Celeste's body surfaced. The investigation continues behind sealed court records and security holds, but one thing is certain. Questions surrounding Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death remain unanswered, and that burn cage discovery ensures those questions will haunt everyone connected to this case. D4VD went from making music in his sister's closet to avoid copyright strikes on Fortnite videos to accumulating 700 billion streams to becoming a homicide investigation suspect, which represents one of the most dramatic falls in music industry history. Whether criminal charges follow remains to be seen. The Rivas family knows where Celeste is now because they buried their daughter in October 2025. But how she died, who bears responsibility, and what exactly happened during those 17 months she was missing may never be fully answered. That burn cage sits as a symbol of this case, a device designed to eliminate evidence that was ordered but never used and discovered by accident during a private investigation. Intent without action, planning without execution, a dark possibility that remained only a possibility. Detectives in Los Angeles are still trying to piece together what happened to a 13-year-old girl who ran away one last time and never came home, and the investigation continues without resolution.